Welcome back to the Spotlight. As promised, we've got the crew of the Michigan Beer Film here in studio, all the way from Kalamazoo. Thank you guys so much for making the long trek out here to Warren.
You're welcome.
Now tell me, we'll go one by one here. Tell me, I guess, who you are and what your role is on the film.
Sure. My name is Kevin Romeo, and I'm the producer for the Michigan Beer Film.
I'm Angel Arnold, and I'm the assistant producer.
Okay.
I'm Jeremy Angeletti, and I'm crew. And,
all right, do a little bit of this, do a little bit of that.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's cool. Again, thanks for being on the Spotlight. Now, Kevin, we'll start with you here.
Sure.
What was your main focus on why you wanted to start this film?
Good question. It's funny, we're doing this right now because just yesterday we're starting to record a Kickstarter video for this, so this is kind of rehashing some. Hopefully I do a good job. So the whole idea started
Going great so far.
Yeah, well, I haven't said anything. So the whole thing started with this idea that we love craft beer and we love entrepreneurship, and because we're a small video production house in Kalamazoo, our company name is Rhino Media. That's who's doing the beer film. So we're really passionate about entrepreneurship, passionate about people doing what they love, and it seemed kind of like a no-brainer decision to do a film about this. We'd been talking about wanting to produce our own documentary work and telling awesome stories and doing it in a very visually compelling way. So this was kind of a very logical step for us to do, and that's how it.
All right, so you said you got a bunch of friends together. You decided, hey, let's do a documentary and let's drink some beer along the way, right?
Essentially.
And good craft beers too. None of the domestic bottled stuff you're going to find anywhere else. Now, Angel, what are some of the more interesting locations that you guys have shot at so far?
Well, definitely Greenbush down in Sawyer, Michigan. You go down to Sawyer, it's middle of nowhere town, where most of us actually grew up, middle of nowhere towns.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Greenbush has just exploded down there. We went up to Traverse City, got to go to Right Brain, Bel Air for shorts. So definitely up north was a fun time, fun trip.
Okay. And Jeremy, what about you? What are some of the more interesting flavors of beer that you guys ran into?
Probably, what's it, the Pig's Head?
The Pig's Head.
Pig's Head from Right Brain. It is actually.
I can only imagine what they're putting in these things.
A pig head.
Yeah, I have a T-shirt that says "Extracts are for sissies" because they actually put a pig's head. It's not an extract of pig flavor. It's actually a pig's head that they put in the.
Okay, now what kind of flavor are we talking? Are we talking like a pretty good bacony kind of a flavor, or is it just flat out, nope, there's a pig's head in my beer?
Well, I can't speak to what a pig's head actually tastes
right,
like.
I guess, that's kind of a tough.
It definitely had a kind of a smoky pork type.
Okay.
Soft mid-tone, I would say.
It didn't gross you out.
No.
It actually is I think it won some awards. I feel stupid that I don't have this information ready, but I'm pretty sure it won a national award for best experimental beer. So that's why it's legit, I guess.
I mean, you can't really experiment farther than pig's head during the fermenting process.
Yeah.
But that's pretty cool. So you guys have seen some pretty cool things, been to some pretty cool places. Again, the city of Warren is happy to have now 3 breweries right here in the city. We've got Kunin's, Dragon Mead, and then the newest is Falling Down Beer Company. We talked a little bit about those, and we've talked about Kunin's and Dragon Mead several times on our show. We're big fans of them. They've won plenty of awards. I'm sure you guys know all about them.
Yep.
Why don't you tell me a little bit more about the filming process? When you're making a documentary, you run into some issues. What are some of the issues that you've been kind of running into, or maybe how you've solved these issues to help, maybe people out there trying to create their own documentary?
Sure. So for us, most documentaries that I've experienced are trying to uncover a dirty little secret to some extent. That's kind of a common theme. And we've just had a hard time. I mean, not that we ever set out to sling mud at anyone. That's obviously not the case. But we're almost when we started realizing that it's kind of hard to make it any sort of conflict point in the film, because every film has to have some sort of climactic thing you're reaching and moving towards. So we didn't want the film to feel like an hour-long or hour-plus promo video about Michigan beer. So we really had to kind of discover what are the challenges, are there barriers, which there doesn't seem to be right now, but is it going to reach a boiling point in terms of too many breweries, things like that?
Okay.
Oversaturation is kind of a common theme right now. Every time you get on Facebook, there's an article if you follow any beer blogs, there's articles every day of a new brewery popping up somewhere in Michigan. So
Okay.
we're definitely not trying to run anyone down at all. We're very positive in it, and we want to celebrate it more and have something like just pretty awesome to get behind when you watch it. But there definitely are some questions that kind of come up through the process of, you know, all these people doing this thing. Is there anything that they're doing that maybe they're not qualified to do? For example, a lot of these guys are brewers, and they end up just overnight, not overnight, you
Right.
know, but overnight becoming a sensation in business, and all of a sudden they have a lot of decisions to make, and they're kind of like, I didn't go to school for this, I just want to brew beer.
Getting
Can someone else-
overwhelmed on the business side
Yeah.
of things. Absolutely, and I can understand why that would be a big problem. Now, in some of the trailers that you guys have on your website, I've noticed that you've headed to some of the farms where they're growing their own barley and stuff like that. Can you kind of tell me a little bit about, you know, where these farms are and what these people are doing?
You want to do that, eh?
Sure. I mean, one of the farms that we had actually went to was the Hop Alliance up in Traverse City.
Yep.
Brian and Joel out there.
Yep.
Just, it's a perfect location to grow hops.
Okay.
And then right outside of Kalamazoo, there's Hophead Farms, which I actually got to tag along with Kevin.
Oh, so it's hop farms then. Or
they're
just
hops.
growing hops on the farm.
Yeah, the big farming thing that we're seeing is people are growing hops in Michigan, which Brian Tennis is one of the two guys that started the Michigan Hop Alliance, and he owns a farm. It's called New Mission Organics.
Okay.
And the Leelanau Peninsula, he says, is prime ground for growing hops just because of the elevation and the soil and everything. And then Hophead Farms is another one down by Kalamazoo, which is doing really well. So that's a big part of it. And the other farming element we're looking at is actually like cattle ranchers who are buying the spent grain after the beer is brewed,
Right.
taking that grain, feeding their cattle with it, and then a lot of times it's like kind of this cycle where they'll sell the cows back to the breweries who are making beef briskets and burgers
Oh,
and
wow.
stuff. So kind of a cool cycle.
So hops
Yeah.
fed from the hops that you're drinking, now you're eating the meat. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And you know, that goes a lot with, you know, environmentally friendly and, you know, going greens, you know, obviously exploding throughout, not only in, you know, Michigan, but worldwide, hopefully.
Absolutely.
And that's awesome. Now tell me, I guess a little bit more, you know, you're starting a Kickstarter for this.
Yeah.
So, you know, has funding been an issue? I mean, like all documentaries, I'm sure, but,
Yeah.
you know, I guess, you know, what are some of the other issues that you guys have been running into?
As far as funding, this has always been a labor of love thing that we've started. Rhino Media is very blessed in the fact that we have a lot of clients that really like what we do. We have a strong client base, and that's our bread and butter is doing promo videos, web promos, TV commercials, and things like that. So
Okay.
the beer film's always been a night and weekend project. So anytime we get free time, we try to go and do a shoot here and there. But as it's gained steam, it's become more of a priority. Let's go out during a weekday. Let's head to Detroit. Let's get these things done so we can actually set a deadline for the project. Funding, we've self-funded the entire project up till now. The cost so far, we own all our equipment at Rhino, so the costs so far have been traveling to places, having a beer when we're there, or buying food for the crew kind of thing, you know,
Okay.
and our time. And that's mostly it. But now with doing a big premiere we're talking about, we want to have promotional items and Kickstarter prizes or rewards for that.
Okay.
And we want to throw a big premiere at the Kalamazoo State Theater, release for the film, have maybe some Michigan bands like open up and play before the showing,
Very cool.
have beers there. Yeah, just do a whole big event. And that's obviously going to cost some money. So we want to just do this thing right, make it pro, make it awesome. And
Absolutely.
yeah.
Now, Jeremy, I guess you do some of the editing and some of that, you know, so on and so forth, I guess, for Rhino and the Michigan Beer Film. How are things going as far as production? You know, we're looking for a summertime premiere. You know, how are things going on your end?
Well, aside from, you know, putting together trailers and stuff, we haven't really started the post-production process.
Okay.
And I personally haven't ever pieced together such a large project or been a part of bringing that all together.
Okay.
But the more that we go and interview brewers and the more that we kind of see consistencies in stories, I'm less and less intimidated by the magnitude of it because
Okay.
I think we're kind of seeing a story kind of organically developing. And so the prospect of putting that all together really isn't as terrifying as it was when Kevin first said, hey, let's do a documentary.
Well, that's a good thing. Things are starting to come together by themselves.
Right.
Well, that's very cool. Where can we find you guys?
So we're on Facebook, and that's the biggest thing. If you can go to the Michigan Beer Film on Facebook, or actually it's Michigan Beer Film on Facebook. No, it's the Michigan Beer Film on Facebook. Sorry. We're on Twitter at MIBeerFilm, and you can go to the website mibeerfilm.com. And same thing with Rhino Media Productions on Facebook, Twitter, and all that good stuff. So,
all right, well, I want to thank all you guys for coming out once again to the city of Warren. Have fun, hit up a brewery while you guys are here, and thanks again for being on the spotlight. I know you guys got a busy schedule ahead of you, and really appreciate you guys taking some time out to come visit us.
oh man, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, now stick around. There's more Spotlight coming right up.
Coming up next, Becca gives us the word. Coming up later, a musical performance by Almost Free. You're not going to want to miss this. There's more Spotlight next.